Are you serious, guys? Are you serious? Well, we're very, very serious, extremely serious. And the things we wrote about in our book, Revelation 9:11, very serious, extremely serious. Yeah. And the things we wrote about in our book, Revelation 9:11, have come to pass. The things we wrote about in our book, Revelation 9:11, have come to pass. The things the Bible said, prophecies that said that there was going to be all nations would turn against Israel, and that also Jesus said, when you see the armies compassed around Jerusalem, know that the desolation of is nigh. Jesus said, when you see wars and rumors of wars, and you'll see nations rise against nations and kingdoms against kingdoms. These things are happening. I'm going to tell you all about it, guys, right now. There has been significant developments. As I'm talking to you, there is so many rockets flying right now that are hitting all over Israel. It's almost as if they are trying to overwhelm the Iron Dome. Meanwhile, there was an explosion in Lebanon today that I don't know. It was the biggest thing I've seen. It had a small mushroom cloud, but the shock wave from it was off the charts. I mean, off the charts. You can see the wave. Okay. This could have been a tactical nuke. I don't know if it was or not. But if it wasn't, it was some kind of insane new bunker busting bomb of some sort. Something's going on, guys. But Israel is bombing and airstrikes everywhere, hitting everywhere, taking out leadership of Hezbollah. It's outrageous. And meanwhile, Hezbollah and now Lebanon, the nation of Lebanon's army, is now joining forces with Hezbollah. It is an all-out war between Lebanon and Israel, and Iran is putting their nukes in the silos or whatever those are. They don't say they have nukes, but whatever those are, big, huge rockets, some kind of intercontinental ballistic missiles of some sort. They're in the silos, okay? They're in the chute. Let me tell you all about it. I got some information for you. Just a real quick shout for www.mypillow.com/Paul. Use the promo code Paul. That's www.mypillow.com/Paul. Use the promo code Paul. Tremendous savings, unbelievable savings. And I want to thank Mike Lindell. Of course, he loves the Lord, and he's such a supporter to the gospel. We want to thank him for sponsoring. If you go and get anything you get there, I mean, pillows, blankets, sheets, towel sets, slippers, whatever you do, a portion of it he gives to the Paul Begley Prophecy Ministries, and that's very helpful. Also, it's a good time to start getting some of these items in. You could use them for Christmas gifts, no doubt about it. And just simply do this, is go to mypillow.com/Paul and use the promo code Paul. Thank you so much for doing that. Help us take the gospel of Jesus Christ to the world. Well, that's what we're trying to do here today. Certainly, the world needs Jesus. There's no question about it. And without him, we would all be lost. I can tell you that right now. Let me do this real quick now. Let's talk about what's happening here in the Middle East. Now, this explosion that I've witnessed it as far as it was sent to me. It is so insane, the video, it's scary. I mean, it's scary. It's like that's like you're like when you see the explosion there, you're like that's a small nuke of some sort. That must be a nuke. I don't know. No one has said it is, and maybe it's not a tactical nuke. But if it's not, I wouldn't want to see a tactical nuke. This thing was insane. How powerful of an explosion in Lebanon. And yet your mainstream media, nobody wants to cover it right now because I think they're scared to death on what to say. Now, meanwhile, let me tell you what's going on. According to I got Heidi. Heidi has sent me a lot of information. She's in Indiana right now. She sent me a lot of information. The name of the town, the number of towns that the rockets are flying into right now is, I can't say all the names. I mean, the rockets are hitting in Tabash is one of them, Timrat, Nin, Nazareth, um, Dovrat, Gilvat, Elah, the industrial area of Halan, Hatovor, Bethlehem, areas around Galilee. I'm just naming a few that I can pronounce, halfway pronounce. I mean, it looks like about 40 different towns and villages that rockets are hitting and have been hitting here and are still hitting right now. The red alert is off the charts. They're trying to overwhelm Israel right now with rockets. Matter of fact, while that's going on, Israel is also doing airstrikes. Israel is doing airstrikes everywhere. Now, the Iron Dome hopefully is knocking down the rockets that are headed in the direction of all these towns, which is just incredible. And we were going to wait and see how many have actually got through. But the Red Alert app you're right, is going absolutely crazy. Thank you, Robert Lazar. It is absolutely, I mean, I've been in Israel when there was, one day I was in Israel when there was 400 rockets fired by Hamas and the Islamic Jihad out of Gaza into different parts of Israel. And I was there one day when 450 of them were fired. And I happened to be going to Beshem and to do some interviewing. And after I left, I think the name of it is called Bet Shemesh. When I left that village, 2 hours later, a rocket did hit there and injured a woman there. The sirens were going off everywhere all day long. And it's an eerie feeling. Okay. But this is overwhelming what they're doing here. It's overwhelming. Now, experts are now debating the urgency of striking Iran. Like I said, Iran is moving intercontinental ballistic missiles into position to fire. They haven't fired, but they're moving them into position. The assets are moving. Meanwhile, remember, the United States of America, we've got nuclear submarines in the area. We've got several of our aircraft carriers and strikers and frigates and all kinds of different warships in the Mediterranean and in the Red Sea and in the Persian Gulf. And we've also got a lot of planes all over these different bases all over the Middle East. They're on the runway ready to go if Iran twitches. According to reports, experts are debating the urgency of Israel doing a preemptive strike of Iran. Matter of fact, the war cabinet, the Israeli cabinet, Prime Minister Netanyahu, Yovel Gallant, all of the top leaders of Israel are buried in the bunker somewhere in a war cabinet meetings as we speak. Experts are discussing whether attacking the Islamic Republic of Iran will lead to a full-fledged regional war, and basically Ezekiel 38 in the Bible. And could this ruin Israel? Or whether now is the time to cut off the octopus's head, talking about the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, before it is too late. According to reports, since October 7th, Israeli citizens have been holding their collective breath, knowing that the ongoing war in the Gaza Strip and the incessant fire exchanges on the northern border could escalate into a full-scale regional war at any moment. It could be a war of biblical proportion, and I'm not joking. The mysterious attack in Lebanon on Tuesday of the pagers blowing up, over 4,000 pagers, blinded over 500 Hezbollah fighters, blowing off hands and fingers and all kinds of amputations from these explosions, killing 12 that day. And then the next day, 1,500 walkie-talkies exploding, killing a total of 32 Hezbollah fighters in Lebanon and another 20 in Syria. Most of those were Iranians from the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. So, and then Israel started their air campaign on Thursday. Tuesday, they blew up the pagers. Wednesday, the walkie-talkies. Thursday, the airstrikes. And they've not stopped. They're continuing to do those strategically. They've killed the guy who was the mastermind, Ibrahim They killed him, the guy who was the mastermind of the 1983 Beirut bombing that blew up the barracks of the Marines and killed 241 Marines and 63 innocent civilians back in 1983. They finally, with a $7 million bounty on his head by the United States, Israel finally took him out. They've also taken out several top Hamas leaders and Hezbollah leaders and even Iranians commanders in the last 2 weeks. It's been an incredible display of military strategic operations by the Israelis. That's for sure. Quite impressive, really, from a war standpoint. But from a biblical standpoint, it's brought us to the brink, brought us literally to the brink of Ezekiel 38. And the war with Iran-backed militia to Israel's north could quickly expand into a war with Iran, which you knew eventually was coming. Because Iran is the one who's been funding this whole thing. Iran's the one that set up Hamas. They've used Hamas as the tip of the spear. They've really come till they've completely destroyed them. Now they've went to Hezbollah to do their business for them. And so Israel's going to destroy them. And then it's up to Iran. Do they step up and fight, or do they back down? Do they try to get the whole world to put pressure on Israel and to isolate Israel and to turn the world against Israel? And does Israel wait around for that, or do they just go ahead and take down the Iranians while they're at it? And is that kind of a war, guys, is an Ezekiel 38 war? And then you'll see Russia jump in, you'll see Turkey jump in, you'll see other nations jump in, and Egypt may even jump in. Jordan could turn and get involved. There's a lot of different people could do a lot of different things. It's a sad situation that this is happening right now when we have really no leadership in Washington. I mean, it's really the wrong time, but this is why it's happening, because it is the wrong time, because there is no leadership in Washington. And that's why biblically this thing is happening at the time it is. A war with Iranian-backed militias to Israel's north could quickly expand into a war with Iran. And yet to avenge the assassination of Hamas's political leader, Ismail Haniyeh, in Iran in late July, the Iranian Republic leaders are vowing that they are going to respond, but they have not responded. Israel, in turn, stated it would exact a heavy price from the Iranian regime were it to carry out any kind of significant attack against Israel. And Major General Isaac Brick is adamant that war with Iran now would lead to Israel's destruction. Now, that is an Israeli major general, saying if we go to war with Iran, it will lead to the destruction of Israel. But that's not the opinion of Benjamin Netanyahu or Yoav Gallant or some of the other leaders. So you can understand now the pressure is building. Security expert Yair Anzbakacher is convinced that the war with Iran at this point is a must to avoid Israel's destruction. So you got one major general saying, if we go to war with Iran, it's the end of us. And you have another top security official expert saying, if we don't go to war with Iran, it's the end of us. This is where we're at in a biblical perspective. It's from the pages of the Bible. And we really could be. I told you Ezekiel, Psalms 83. Is anyone going to agree with me? Hang on a second. I'm live on the air. Oh, it's okay. What's that? I'll say hello to everybody for you, Heidi. Bye. And so, and she's the one that updated me, but she didn't realize I was live. So the thing is, right now, we know. So everyone, I think, pretty well now will agree that Psalms 83 has happened, or is happening as we speak, has been going on for a little bit of time. Now we're moving toward the brink of Ezekiel 38. And that could actually take us on into the sixth trumpet war that's found in the book of Revelation, chapter 9, where Apollyon does come out of the pit and he causes all the world leaders, the kings of the East, he causes the world to go into World War III, known as the sixth trumpet war in the Bible. We are so close to Ezekiel 38, full-born, fully inflamed. We're so close to that. It could happen. It could happen tonight. It's so close now. Will the Iranians respond? The Israelis are still angry over the 1,200 innocent citizens that were butchered on October 7th and the 252 hostages, some of which were American hostages that were dragged into Gaza, into the tunnels, of which many have been killed. And so we don't know what's going to happen now. Iran and its proxies collectively have 250,000 rockets. Some of them are sophisticated. Some of them are hypersonic ballistic missiles. Some of them are bigger than that even. There is some weapons they've never shown before. Maybe even they may have some tactical nuclear capability. We're not sure. Also, we know they have over 4,000 drones that are sophisticated. These are some of the things we know. Does Iran is afraid. They know if they pull this trigger that Israel and maybe the United States will hit them with everything they got. And they really don't want that. But they're also to a point that if they don't respond and support Hamas and Hezbollah, that they've hung those guys out to dry, and that entire terrorist network will start to fall apart at the seams. And so this is why the Iranians, along with the nation of Lebanon and several other nations, are going to be pleading with the UN to do something, to give them the green light to go and enforce a military move on Israel and part the land in a forcible two-state solution, although I call that's really a two-state delusion. It's the religious madness has driven people to madness. It's sad. It's horrible. We don't want it. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants it. I don't want it at all. I want peace. I pray for peace in the Middle East. I pray for peace in the city of Jerusalem and pray for peace for all people. But I can't stop prophecy. I cannot change the Bible. I cannot stop the prophetic. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. The question is this the time? And if this is the time, I can't stop it. I can only pray for the innocent children, the elderly, the women, the citizens, the peoples of all nations in that area. I can only pray for America. I can only pray for the entire world, really, from not falling into this abyss of war. It's inevitable. The only question is this the time? It is incredible where we're at. It is perilous times. Thank you, Tom. The Bible said that in the last days, perilous times will come. That means dangerous times will come. Inflamed with the passion of religion, inflamed with the spirit of darkness, inflamed with the hatred in the human existence heart of man. We are in the last days. We are in the end times. Maybe Ezekiel 38 is the October surprise. Maybe that's it. Can you hear Jerusalem you see the storm on the rise, look around, you can't deny this is the hour of heaven's time. Armies gathering in the east for the war that's soon to come. Death will march with the beast, so seek the light and walk with the sun. We need to pray. We need to pray one for another. Soon we'll see his wrath come down and the Lord descending from the sky. When you hear the trumpet sound, God has answered Jerusalem's cry. This is the time we're in. We need to pray. The sun goes black and the moon blood red, and the stars fall from the sky. We need to pray like never before. Word of God in the Bible says we're living in the end times. Soon we'll see his wrath come down and the Lord descending from the sky. When you hear the trumpet sound, God has answered Jerusalem's cry. God has answered Jerusalem's cry. Soon the dead in Christ shall rise and join him in the sky. Even unbelievers will see God has answered Jerusalem's cry. God has answered Jerusalem's cry. Don't miss tomorrow's live broadcast. Church service starts at 9:30 a.m. under the big tent. I'm praying for your family. Pray for mine. These are the last days.